What is up, y'all? It's your boy Winston Wolf. I'm back. I just want to do a quick video. I'm the people's champ, man. I do this for you. I'm like Jesus. I'm sacrificing myself for the greater good. She-Hulk episode 5. I watched it. There's nothing else to review. Only other thing I have time to watch, because I work all the time, Rick and Morty. But you're going to find way better channels that can break down just everything about it, all the little callbacks, how each episode relates to something that happened in season 1, episode 2, 5 minutes in. There was a split second, things like that. I don't do that. I barely edit. You might find 3 videos that I've ever done that I did any kind of editing on. I just don't do that. I'm me. Accept me for me. I accept you for you. I'm the people's champ. That means I'm the champion of the people. You're the people. What do you do when there's a champion? You praise them. You throw rose petals at their feet. Do I see rose petals? No rose petals. You're lacking. You are lacking. She-Hulk episode 5. Number 1, the Marvel intro used to mean something. I remember it was kind of like, for people a little bit older, if you remember when Star Wars was still made by 20th Century Fox, and you would have the 20th Century Fox fanfare. And that was kind of like a Pavlovian response to you if you were a fan of Star Wars. It was like the anticipation when you heard the fanfare, and then right after it, the silence, and then the first note of that John Williams hit. It was a whole thing. Marvel was getting there kind of with this, because I was noticing once I hear that, your ears perk up a little bit. Still, even for everything they've done, we can't forget about the good times. That's why I hate when people were trashing Game of Thrones. I was like, man, for a good 7 seasons or whatever it was, that was your life. That was all you talked about. That was everything you looked forward to. Then all of a sudden they hit you with one bad season, and then they never did anything for you. You can't say that about Marvel either. You can't. The Infinity Saga, except for Thor 2 and Captain Marvel, I wasn't too big of a fan of the Ant-Man stuff, but, it was serviceable. But, man, you still get hope when you hear that. Somewhere deep down inside you pause. You're like, what, Marvel? Oh, yeah, I forgot. And then you snap out of your little fantasy for a second, and you realize that we're in 2022. And they're just straight dumping garbage on the street. But right after that, you get a recap of like the previous episodes. And in the little montage, they just show another scene of her doing the dating. It kind of relates to the episode when she was doing the whole Tinder thing. But still, you didn't need to have that in there. And it was just a quick little thing. It was a little jab at men again, which I do not understand, man, because look at any great king. Historically, I don't really know that much about kings. I'm a movie guy. But a lot of kings in movies, you'll see when a new king takes over, and they'll meet with whoever their sworn enemy is or something like that. And they'll kind of break it down to them. They'll be like, you know what, for, generations, we've had this beef. And now, that I'm in charge, I want to have peace because we're just going to lose more people that we care about, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's an age of prosperity, and that's why those kings become loved and protected and legendary. And everybody just swears their life to them because of things like that. That's what great leaders do when you're at war with people for so long. And the main thing you want is peace and understanding and harmony. For some reason, these woke people do not realize that. They want to fight fire with fire. You can't do that. You can't. So anyways, let me get off of my soapbox here. But it was just another jab at men, and I was just like, why? We've already established you hate men. And you hate any fans. You want all new fans for some reason. For some reason, the fans that have stood by Marvel and turned this into a multi-billion dollar franchise is just, for some reason, they're not good enough. It was like, all right, you got the money, now you run. But I'm trying to find something to charge my phone with. But But they don't want those fans no more. They want new fans. They want the new fans that have already been proven to not have jobs and not spend money. You know, it's really, really bizarre, and I don't understand it. Hold on, let me plug this in. Y'all. All right. This is the raw feed. There ain't no editing. So we have, what's the next one? I took notes on a Costco receipt. Rainbow. Oh, they gotta have, what's her name, that plays She-Hulk. She's just chilling in a rainbow shirt. There's something called subtlety. I know it's totally foreign to you and you don't understand it, but just look it up. Just look it up. Actually, YouTube probably has some examples. You're already on YouTube right now. There you go. But there's something called subtlety, and they just have no idea. It's like, yes, we get it. We understand. So there's another part where She-Hulk is, she's talking about something, and she's like, yeah, I would love it if I could be She-Hulk all the time, something like that. Like, I wouldn't have to do this, I could do this, I got great hair, I don't have hangovers, and the last thing was, I can walk home at night and wear my headphones and not be afraid. Where do you live? What do you do? Where you... You can't even walk down the street without getting raped. Move! You're a lawyer. Does your dad have that problem? He cares about her, obviously. Move back in with your dad. I don't care how much of an adult you want to be. If you're an adult and you're constantly getting raped every time you go out your front door, move back home. Nobody will judge you. Nobody will be like, man, what a loser. They got tired of having a prolapsed asshole and having red choke marks from around their neck all the time. They moved back home with their parents. What a loser. Yeah, no one's going to say that. So, what was the thing? It was yeah, they just... Also, if that's her constant issue is always, like, when she's talking to Bruce Banner about, like, debating someone at work and she's worried about getting murdered. What? Yo, look into the father. Because if you're bugging out like that all the time, number one, you need to go see some kind of therapist and get on some medication. Number two, somebody look into the father. Because you know what I'm saying? Because there could be grandkids around. There could be grand nieces and nephews or a young neighbor. That's not safe. She's a perfect example that something was going on in that household that was not right. But the rest of the episode, it was more fluff comedy. It was more, and I say comedy very loosely. Pause. I don't know if that sounded pause word, but very loosely pause. Because I can't even imagine even the dullest person even cracking a smile with what they consider comedy. It's just, to me, this is like, I remember my girl used to watch Roseanne. I mean, religiously watch Roseanne. There's a couple other sitcoms. But I would sit there and watch her, and she wouldn't smile or laugh the whole time. And then the show would get over with, and I remember asking her, I was like, why do you watch this? Like, every day, 2 or 3 episodes at night before we get, ready for bed. She's like, I don't know, it's funny. I was waiting for her to say that. And I was like, no, it's not. Because I've watched you. Like a psycho, I've watched you. Never seen you crack a smile. Never heard a chuckle. Nothing. And then she was like, I don't know. It's just, comforting. And I think that's what they're doing with this. They figured that whole where it doesn't have to be good. But at the same time, make it... I guess they want to make something where your brain literally does not have to work. Because they know everybody in their life has something going on. No matter how easy or whatever. I know it's cornball, but everybody has stuff going on in their life. To you it might not be a big deal, but to them it's a big deal, whatever. There's just a time in the day where not only do you want, but you need to just not have the pressures on you. And I guess that's what this is for certain people. I'm willing to accept that because the world needs that. But if they're going to sit there and try to pass this off as some great show or something like that, or somebody's going to try to argue with me that this is something special, you're special. How were those rides on the short bus, my guy? But She-Hulk episode 5. I mean, 0. I was trying to think of a rating I could give it from somebody else's perspective who's like into like Hallmark movies. And I mean, I was about to say Lifetime films, but Lifetime films are like Scorsese flicks compared to Hallmark movies. Hallmark movies are incredibly terrible. Like impressively terrible. But I can't do it. 0. 0 dog bones. If you don't know, 0 to 10 dog bones is my rating. 10 the best, 0 the worst. 0, it's just... I'm not going to give it below 0 like I've given other things because I've been like straight up offended on how bad some things are that I have to give it minus dog bones. This is just... At this point, do you curb stomp, you know, the drunk guy that keyed your car after you've already knocked him out? Like... just pee on him and leave. That's She-Hulk episode 5. That's...